Sometimes you just need an emergency credit card. I mean, whether you get it from a bank or a credit union, it doesn't really matter because cash is tight. You need a credit card real fast. So in today's conversation, what I want to talk to you about, how to get a credit union emergency credit card with fair credit. So here are the steps I really want you to pay attention to. It's really important first to understand that when we talk about emergencies, there are layers. There are different types of emergencies. You have emergencies that are really, really like emergencies, like medical emergencies. And you have emergencies that are like, I need to actually buy some food. I need to put food on the table for my family this afternoon or this evening. Okay. So you kind of have a spectrum of emergencies. And this is really important to understand because when you go to a credit union and you want to apply for an emergency credit union credit card, they will ask you about the type of emergencies, because when you talk about this kind of card, you are actually quote unquote forcing them to issue the credit card right off the bat. Like you're asking them to issue you the credit card on the spot. And it is possible. We have seen it time and again. They will do it if you go to a branch. And basically what they do is they will give you a sort of like a credit card that is not really with your name and everything else, but you can use that credit card because it has all the info. And then they will order a credit card, like a real credit card for you, that will come in the mail after 3 or 5 days. Okay. So you need to actually decide if you need to have a card that offers instant approval, or you also need to think about if rewards are important for you. Because even though this is a credit card for emergencies, you also might want to have some amenities, some benefits that are attached to the card, right? So you want to ask yourself, what kind of cards are you looking for in the first place? And it's really also important to understand that when you want this kind of cards, you need to compare cards in terms of their fees. So when you go to a credit union, you have to basically take 3 or 4 credit unions and see. You have to compare and contrast the fees, the APRs, and whatnot. By the way, boss, welcome back to the show. It's really a pleasure to have you here to have this short convo with you about how to get a credit union emergency credit card for fair credit. So to sort of summarize this section, everything happens at the branch. You are not going to have a credit card for emergencies if you apply on a credit union's website. No, if you call them over the phone, they're not going to overnight you the emergency credit card. You got to go to a branch. And one thing you need to really understand here is that you need to actually explain to the rep when you go to a branch, because they will ask you questions. They are willing to help you out, not a problem, but they will ask you questions. They'll ask you like, what is the emergency, the nature of the emergency, okay, how long you need to pay your emergency debt. For example, like this is why I was just telling you earlier, like, hey, listen, if it's just a regular emergency, quote unquote, regular emergency, like I need food, I need to take care of, I need to sort of do something in the basement. Like I need to renovate my basement. I need $1,000. It's not a big thing. But if you have to, like, if you have a medical emergency, you have to spend like 10 grand or 15 grand, sort of take care of a family member or yourself for that matter, then things are a little different. So they'll ask you how much you need and how long you'll need to pay your emergency debt, because that's what's going to qualify. That's what's going to determine the initial limits they actually set on your credit card. Okay. And also you need to also think at that point whether you are looking for an emergency credit union credit card for fair credit to consolidate high interest debt, or you just want to have a credit card for an emergency. Okay. So this is something you have to think about. By the way, I want to quickly remind you of today's topic. We are having a conversation about how to get a credit union emergency credit cards with fair credit, how to get a larger amount, and how to get it real fast. Because when we talk about emergencies, we're speaking about speed. Okay, there has to be, like, you can't get it within a week. You want to get it on the spot. You want to get the credit card on the spot. One thing that's very important to understand that when you go to a branch, a credit union branch, first of all, you have to identify a credit union within which you have been a member for a while now, because you cannot be like a member in a credit union for 3 months or 3 weeks, and then all of a sudden you have an emergency and your ass is going to the credit union asking them to give you an emergency credit card for fair credit after being with them for only three weeks or even 3 days. It doesn't make sense. Okay. It doesn't make sense at all, boss. So what I want you to do here is to really think about the relationship that you have established prior with the credit union, and you can parlay that relationship at the right time to get your credit union emergency credit card with fair credit. Okay. So everything happens at the branch. Here is the approach I really want you to pay attention to. So how do you choose a credit union emergency credit cards with fair credit? It's important to understand that when we talk about credit union credit cards, there are lots of credit cards available, okay? And not all of them can help you in an emergency. So it's really important to understand that you need to pay attention to like what type of emergency card you need, okay? But everything first. First thing first. You have to know your credit score. If you like before you walk your ass into a credit union branch and ask for an emergency credit card, please, boss, do me a favor. Go online and really check your credit score. Check out your credit score and see how much you have available, okay? And see if they will be interested to know like if you can qualify, because like some credit unions have a minimum credit scores. Like they want you to be at 600 minimum. Some will want you to be at 550. Some are a little more generous. They'll work with you if you are at 500. So you got to really make sure that you actually qualify also, because simply because you have an emergency doesn't mean that they're like, okay, yeah, oh, okay, you know, blah, blah, blah. We just have to help you out. No. Because they still have a business to run, right? Because the credit union is not a charity. I mean, it's a nonprofit technically, but they still need to make money and pay bills and pay staff and whatnot. So they have to make sure that you are basically a credit-worthy borrower, a credit-worthy card holder. Okay, so you need to determine the kind of emergency card you need, a credit union emergency card you need. Do you want a card for instant use? Do you need a card with high credit limits? Do you need a card for low or no interest payments? Do you need a card that is open to people with no credit, fair credit, or bad credit? Do you need a card with sign-up bonus and rewards, sign-up bonuses and rewards? And do you need a card that actually has no penalty APR? Okay, because again, if you are looking for an emergency credit union credit card with fair credit, chances are cash is tight right now, which means that your finances are, in a little bit, I wouldn't say in shambles, but you are struggling. Let's just put it that way, okay? And see, the whole thing is, the credit union knows that. They know you are struggling. So they don't want to actually double down, quote unquote, double down on your situation. They still need to cover their asses too. Okay. And the thing here is that if you are looking for a credit union emergency credit card with fair credit, it's always important to see if you pre-qualify. See so you want to look for a credit union that has this functionality that actually allows you to pre-qualify for the credit card that they have. Okay, and it's very easy to find out. You just call them up. The thing is, sometimes you have certain credit unions that have websites where everything is on the website. You just go on the website and you can just pre-qualify, not a problem, whether you are a member or not a member. But if you are a member, so you have to log into your dashboard or to your dashboard, and you will see a link that says, pre-qualify for this credit card. And it's important to pre-qualify for a credit card because you are trying to monitor your credit score. You're trying to do anything not to lose a few points here and there. You are trying to do anything to make sure to maintain whatever credit score you have. Okay, because remember, you have fair credit. So you don't have a lot to work with in the first place. You're not like a 750 or 800. So anything you lose, anything like if you lose 10 points, if you lose 15 points, those really matter. Okay. Boss, I want to say once again, I want to remind you of today's topic. The conversation we're having revolves around how to get a credit union emergency credit card with fair credit, fast approval, high limits, how to get it real fast. Okay. And one thing you need to do as you're navigating this emergency credit union credit card, you want to pay attention to the rates and fees. Okay. So don't be like, I'm all desperate. I'll take anything anyway. Y'all give me whatever you can, you can charge me 20%, charge my ass 30%. That's fine. No, because at the end of the day, you are going to pay whatever you charge on the card. If you don't pay the full balance, whatever is left over on the card, you're going to have to repay it. So it's important to really, like, from a budgetary perspective, from a personal liquidity perspective, you want to know exactly how much you will be charged in terms of fees, rates, and whatnot. Okay. And some credit unions may have additional fees, like late fees or balance transfer fees. Again, so you want to have a clear idea about the catalog, about the constellation of fees the credit union will be charging you. Let me give you a few pro tips here, okay? It's important to understand that once you get approved for a credit union emergency credit card with Fair Credit, you still need to maintain, you still need to manage, you still need to make the most out of this emergency credit card, because there are credit unions that monitor, like, once they grant you the credit card, they will start monitoring your usage. And within 1 to 3 months, if they see that you have not been using the card responsibly, they'll shut it down. They don't have a problem at all. I mean, we have seen this time and again. They'll shut it down and they'll let you know, like, sometimes they'll let you know, sometimes they don't even let you know. They don't bother to let you know. It depends on the seriousness of the offense that you have. If you have used the cards, like if you have used the card with gross negligence, they'll just shut it down and that's it. They'll cancel the credit card. So be very careful when it comes to using a credit union emergency credit card, especially if you realize that you have gotten the card under emergency, I would say process or procedure. Make sure that you pay attention to how you use the card. Pay on time, and you want to pay more than the minimum, okay? Because the whole thing is you want to actually allay fears that credit union may have in terms of your repayment ability. You want to tell them that, hey, listen, I'm here, I'm solid, I can repay the loan, I can repay the credit card, whatever I charge on the card, and even if I leave some balance, outstanding here and there, I'm still able to understand everything. I'm still able to be a responsible credit card holder, okay? And so pay more than the minimum. Paying more than the minimum is actually important, boss. Not just because you're trying to reassure the credit union, even though that's part of it, but you also want to increase something called your credit utilization ratio. Okay. If you pay more than the minimum, you are keeping your credit utilization ratio high. And if you keep a high credit utilization, if you have a high credit utilization ratio, what will happen here is that your FICO score will go up. By the way, I just misspoke. If you pay more than the minimum, your credit utilization ratio will go down. Yes, will go down. If it goes down, your FICO score will go up, because there is an inverse relationship between your CUR, your credit utilization ratio, and your FICO score. Now, let me actually share with you a few tips. Okay, if you are looking for a credit union emergency credit card with Fair Credit, it's important to understand that you want to avoid paying interest for as long as possible. Okay, the cool thing is that there are some credit unions in the nation, including CCU, Connexus. CCU stands for Consumers Credit Union. Connexus. Okay, you have BlueFed, you have DECU, you have America's Credit Union. So you have ACU. You have a SDCCU, San Diego County Credit Union. You have a Navy Fed. There are a lot of those credit unions that from time to time, they run programs. They run programs whereby they actually have a 0% intro APR offers. And if you're able to catch one of those programs, you actually don't have to pay interest. Anywhere from 12 to 21 months, boss. 12 to 21 months. Think about the flexibility. Think about the peace of mind. Think about the latitude you have. Think about the breathing room that your budget will have, knowing that you don't have to pay anything. You don't have to pay any interest. You're basically getting a loan, an interest-free loan for 12 to 21 months. Okay, so try to use that. Now, big decision time, boss. Big decision time. Are you currently looking for a credit union emergency credit card for fair credit? Have you applied? Have you gotten the credit card? If yes, what is your strategy? So credit cards. What is your strategy to actually avoid paying interest for as long as possible? Are you actually just paying your bills in full every month? Or are you trying to look for the card that has the longest APR, the longest intro offer? Are you thinking about just doing balance transfers here and there? So you just wait for the card you currently have. If the expiration date is closer to the APR intro, the APR intro date, you just retransfer the balance to another card. So what is your strategy, boss? Talk to me about that. Okay, but the bottom line here is that if you are trying to get a credit union emergency credit card with fair credit, make sure that you try to avoid paying interest for as long as possible. Before I close to this conversation, I want to say that when we talk about credit union emergency credit cards with fair credit, you need to understand that you have other options. There are other options out there when it comes to dealing with emergencies from a monetary perspective, from a financial perspective. Okay, I want to share with you a few of them. So there are alternatives to emergency credit cards from credit unions. You can actually get emergency funds. So basically, that's money yourself, not from the credit union. That's money yourself. You actually set up. You open a savings account at a credit union or at a regular bank, okay, where you just every pay period you just stash $20 away, $25 away, whatever, $100, $1,000 if you have money, whatever it is. But you see, everything counts. You want to feed the beast. You want your emergency fund to be a beast that you feed more, like you feed all the time, okay? And this will help you a lot from a budgetary perspective, because you are able to manage your liquidity crisis a lot better. And this will really be conducive to you in the future. And another alternative here is to have a personal loan, to seek a personal loan from a credit union. So to have a credit union emergency personal loan with fair credit. Okay, you have a lot of lenders out there who actually will take care of you. Again, from Navy Fed to Penn Fed to CCU to Consumers to Connexus to Blue Fed to Logix to America's Credit Union to American Heritage, okay, to Teachers Federal. So you have a constellation of credit unions in the nation that will actually take care of you no matter what. And also think about the fact that when we talk about personal loans, if the credit union is not the right institution for you, just look elsewhere. You have online lenders, you have traditional banks, you have alternative lenders. Okay, so you have a lot of players. You also think about a line of credit, so emergency line of credit from a credit union if you have fair credit. This also could be a possibility here. Okay, it could be a possibility. So what I'm trying to say here is that you can actually explore the options that are available to you. When we talk about the line of credit, you also have a HELOC. So you have a home equity line of credit, which is another possibility but this you need to have a house. So but you need to actually be a homeowner. So if you had that, you can actually parlay whatever equity you have built in the house into securing a line of credit. So in other words, you're basically using your house, as a line of credit, as a collateral for the line of credit. So you do have possibilities. Thank you so much for your attention. I really appreciate it, boss. In today's conversation, I'll quickly talk to you about credit union emergency credit cards with fair credit, how to get it. So I give you the steps. I give you the approach you need to follow, the pro tips, and I actually share with you a few alternatives. Thank you. God bless you. I'll speak to you another time. But until then, remember, stay marvelous.